I'm Dr. Kay Fontana, spiritual grief and sound healing practitioner and founder of Healing Our Grieving Hearts. For 6 sacred years, I walked beside my husband as his caregiver after his cancer diagnosis until his passing in January 2023. His death, following 40 years of love, was the most profound loss of my life. I faced many kinds of losses, from family members to beloved pets, and through it all, I've come to understand grief not only as sorrow, but as a sacred passage. My mission now is to help you move through the darkness with grace, to honor your own process, and to remind you that healing is possible, even if your heart is broken wide open. You are not alone. This is the Healing Our Grieving Hearts podcast. Welcome, friends. I am so grateful you've chosen to be here today. In this gentle space where we can sit together and honor both the depth of our loss and the quiet possibilities of healing. Our episode today is called The Soul's Compass, Finding Direction When the Path Feels Lost. This title came to me because I know firsthand how disorienting grief can be. It can feel as though the ground beneath us has shifted, leaving us unsure of where to place our feet. The plans that we made, the routines we kept, the future we once imagined, all of it changes in an instant. When we're in that space, it's so easy to feel like we've lost our way. And yet I believe that deep within each of us, there is something steady, something guiding, a soul's compass. The inner compass doesn't erase by our grief, but it can remind us that even in the darkest nights, there are stars overhead pointing us toward spirit, toward meaning, toward the next small step forward. In today's conversation, we'll explore what it means to feel lost in grief and how the compass of the soul can guide us gently back toward direction and purpose. I'll share stories, spiritual insights, and some practices that you can use to reconnect with your inner compass when the way ahead feels unclear. My hope is that by the end of our time together, you'll feel a little more grounded, a little more connected, and perhaps even a little more trusting in the wisdom that lives within you. Let's begin by naming the reality many of us face when grief leaves us on the lost path. When we lose someone we love, a spouse, a soulmate, a dear companion, it often feels as though the map of our life has been torn apart. The familiar markers we relied on, morning conversations, daily routines, shared laughter, suddenly vanish, and we find ourselves in unfamiliar territory. It can feel like we've been dropped in the middle of a dense forest without a compass, without a path, without a sense of how to move forward. I remember in the early months after my husband Dave passed away, sitting in silence and feeling utterly adrift. The questions were endless. Who am I now? Where do I go from here? What does life even mean without him by my side? There were moments when I felt paralyzed, unable to make even the smallest decisions because everything felt foreign without his presence. If you've ever felt this way, I want you to know you're not alone. The feeling of being lost is not only common, it's natural. Grief shakes us to our very core, disrupting not only our hearts, but also our sense of identity, direction, and belonging in the world. And yet, what I've come to understand is that feeling lost doesn't mean we are lost forever. It's part of the grieving process. It's a sign of love, a sign that our lives have been deeply intertwined with another's. This disorientation is not failure. It's an invitation to pause, to breathe, to eventually discover new ways of moving forward. So if you find yourself feeling like you've lost your path, be gentle with yourself. Remember, even in this place of uncertainty, Spirit is with you. The compass of your soul has not disappeared. It's simply waiting to be rediscovered. When we are in the midst of grief, it may feel like our inner compass has broken, spinning in circles without any sense of true direction. But the truth is, it isn't broken. It's still there, quietly waiting for us to turn inward and listen. I've come to see the soul compass as having 4 directions, much like the physical compass we might hold in our hands. Each direction offers a kind of spiritual wisdom we can learn on when we are unsure of where to turn. North points us back to spirits, the divine, God, source, however you name that presence. North reminds us that no matter how much life changes, we are never separate from love. This direction is about remembering who we are at our core, spiritual beings having this very human experience of grief. East represents new beginnings. Just as the sun rises each day, East reminds us that even after long nights of sorrow, there can be moments of light returning. East doesn't promise everything will be easy, but it gently nudges us toward the possibility of renewal. South is grounding. It's where we rest in our emotional wisdom, in the knowing of our heart and body. South teaches us to slow down, to listen inward, to allow ourselves to feel rather than rush past our pain. And West is the direction of reflection and integration. As the sun sets in the west, we are invited to honor the past, our memories, our love, our sacred stories, and carry them with us in new ways. When we engage with this compass, we don't have to figure out the whole map. We only need to know which direction our soul is asking us to face today. So how do we take this idea of the soul's compass and use it in our daily lives? Because while the metaphor is beautiful, what we really need are practical ways to reconnect when we feel overwhelmed or uncertain. One practice I often recommend is journaling. Take a few minutes each day to ask your soul a gentle question. Where am I being pulled today? What do I need most in this moment? Don't worry about finding big answers. Sometimes the compass will point you simply toward rest, or toward calling a friend, or even toward making yourself a warm cup of tea. Another way is through simple rituals. Light a candle and say your loved one's name. Step outside and breathe the morning air. Place your hand on your heart and feel your breath. These small actions are like recalibrating your compass, helping you return to yourself and to spirit. And then there are signs and synchronicities. Grief heightens our sensitivity to the subtle. You might notice feathers, songs on the radio, an animal crossing your path, or words someone says that feel like more than just a coincidence. I've come to see these as Spirit's way of whispering, I'm still here, keep going. The compass of the soul doesn't promise to eliminate our grief or to give us all the answers at once. What it offers is something more gentle, just the next step, just the next direction. And when we begin to trust those small nudges, we slowly find our bearings again. So the invitation is to listen, not for the whole map, but for the next turn of your compass. After my husband Dave passed, my heart was heavy, and I felt as though I was carrying a weight I could never set down. I remember thinking, I don't know how to keep moving forward, or if I even want to. And then I attended an event where a young man, a teenager, spoke about losing his father when he was 6 years old. He chose not to be bitter, but to be better. He chose joy. In that moment, something shifted within me. I realized that perhaps I didn't need to know the whole journey ahead. Perhaps it was enough to trust that my own soul's compass, my connection with spirit, with love, with life itself, was still intact. I didn't have to see the entire path. I only needed to take the next step, to choose joy. That realization didn't erase my grief. It didn't take away the ache of my heart, but it gave me a glimmer of hope, a reminder that just as that young man knew his direction, I too could trust the gentle pull within me. Sometimes Spirit gives us just enough light for the step we're on, and maybe that's all we need. I'd like to invite you now into a simple reflection. If you're able to, find a comfortable seat and gently close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. Imagine that within your chest there is a small, luminous compass. Its needle is glowing softly, steady, and calm. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Now ask yourself, where does my soul need to turn today? If it points north, perhaps you are being invited to reconnect with Spirit through prayer, meditation, or simply remembering that you are held by love. If it points east, maybe your soul is whispering that a new beginning is dawning, something small, a new practice, a fresh perspective, a moment of light. If it points south, your soul may be asking you to slow down, to feel your emotions more fully, to rest and nurture your body. If it points west, perhaps today is a time for honoring memories, journaling about your loved one, or lighting a candle at sunset. Whatever direction arises for you, trust it. You don't need to see the whole path. You only need to honor the next step. So here's an affirmation to carry with you. Even when I feel lost, my soul's compass guides me with love, one step at a time. Take another deep breath and gently return to this moment. Remember, the compass of your soul never leaves you. It is always there, quietly guiding, gently pointing, reminding you that even in grief, you are not alone. If this episode spoke to you, I invite you to share it with someone who may also need to find their direction when their path feels lost. The mission of Healing Our Grieving Hearts is to support women who are navigating life after loss of a spouse or soulmate, and those who are tenderly companioning their husbands through illness. Through spiritual support, sound and vibration therapies, and reflective practices, I help women find meaning, healing, and renewed purpose. For free resources, including tips on coping with grief and rediscovering joy, visit purpose.healingourgrievinghearts.com. And to connect with me on Facebook, you'll find me at facebook.com/k.fontana. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Healing Our Grieving Hearts podcast. Remember, you are not alone in your grief, and your experiences and emotions are valid. Join me next Saturday at 10 a.m. Arizona time as we continue to explore the human experience and trusting the unknown, finding peace without all the answers. Until next time, may your grief be held in compassion and your heart be held in light.